Hey, hello guys, this is Star Wars Theology here. I'm gonna go through the video of a new Star Wars Legacy for Ahsoka that Disney posted 6 hours ago. So let's go.
Always two there are. No more, no less. A master and an apprentice.
Well, yes, two more nor less. A master and apprentice. Yes, that's basically the going to the rule of two by Darth Bane. Plus, it applies to the Jedi too. But they use this loosely here because the apprentice is more like a, from the Sith side. I would say Padawan, like yeah, a learner for the Jedi. But yeah, it's loose terminology. But yeah, let's continue.
Star Wars always has these great master-apprentice relationships.
Remember, a Jedi can feel the Force flowing through him.
You see that handing down of mastery, the teaching, the developing, the growing.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Do or do not. There is no try. Yeah, I love this beginning because they're explaining, the relationship with the master and apprentice that goes beyond Star Wars, especially in martial arts. You have a master, that has all this knowledge, and as an apprentice, you're trying to maximize, the learning from your master, and therefore, apply that in your art and your craft. So, I like this up to this point.
It's very much the idea of apprenticeship, the need for those two groups to come together in order to pass down the knowledge and to.
Oh wow! Let me stop there. I like I mentioned in my previous video. If we go right here, I think Disney. Let's get right here, right.
Very much the idea of apprenticeship, the need for those two groups to come together.
See, this was corrected right there. Also in Obi-Wan, in the last trailer, it was Anakin, but I can tell that because I went back yesterday and saw the episode of Obi-Wan just to make sure that I was not imagining things, and he had wrinkles here. So you can go back to the Disney Plus episode, and you're gonna see that he had wrinkles, and I think it happens the same. It will go a little bit further here.
Together in order to pass down the knowledge.
Yes, right there. This is heavily cleaned up. Go back, if you don't believe me, go back to the episode in Obi-Wan. I think was the 5th part, if I recall correctly, and you can see the wrinkles. He's 40 something now, so just like me. So yeah, they clean up there. It probably was feedback from the fans.
Knowledge and to help save the world. In the case of Star Wars.
When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Only a master of evil, Darth.
Wow. He never gets old. I love this, confrontation between Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. It's the first Jedi Sith duel in history in Star Wars. Yeah.
Those life lessons are what make these characters some of the most iconic characters worldwide.
The war is just beginning, and I will not be the last Jedi.
There I see also, if you go back, this part right here always made me think, what a waste of possibilities in The Last Jedi with, Luke and Rey. That should have been a true Jedi training, like is in the OT. That everything could have been a lot better, but I don't gonna get into that weeds there. And yeah, it's too bad that didn't happen. But also here we go and we see this part here. This reminds me so much about the Force Unleashed. I think they wanted to put some elements there about from the game with Star Killer, but yeah, again, wasted opportunity there in The Last Jedi. Sorry for all those that like The Last Jedi, but yeah, that's my opinion.
Beginning, and I will not be the last Jedi.
all of that wisdom gets passed down, over those generations. We have Qui-Gon Jinn, who's the master of Obi-Wan, who's the master of Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
And by being trained by Anakin, Ahsoka was part of that legacy as well.
Well, the relationship between Obi-Wan and Anakin Skywalker, and therefore the relationship between Anakin and Ahsoka, was beautiful through the prequels and the Clone Wars. I hope that they need to do something great. Disney, please, if you are listening to me, please, this is your chance to get all the fans back and get the fandom all united. Please do a good job with Ahsoka. It's a must, please. Master and Apprentice.
Ahsoka is a character that Dave Filoni created and worked with George Lucas on in the Clone Wars.
Originally, we didn't really know.
It's interesting because I see Dave Filoni as the apprentice or Padawan of George Lucas. So I think he's taking this seriously. I'm rooting for him right now, and I'm rooting for him because of the fandom. I hope that he has listened in the background, the claims of a lot of Star Wars fans, and he does, and there's a justice in this series, especially for Anakin. I know that it's needed. There's no excuse, and a lot of eyes is going to be on the performance of Dave Filoni.
Know exactly what the Clone Wars was going to be, and we made up our own little band of characters. There was a character that was a Jedi, and there was a Padawan, and thought we'll put them on adventures. But George had other ideas. He says, well, in this character, and he points to the Padawan we had, and he says, let's give Anakin Skywalker a Padawan. And I was like,
wow.
Anakin doesn't have Padawan. And he just looked at me and said, Anakin has a Padawan. And that.
Wow, I was not aware of that. So that's how it was, how it happened. Very interesting. This is pretty good until now.
That was basically it. That's how Ahsoka came about. We cast Ashley Eckstein to be the voice of the character, and she's fantastic in the Clone Wars and Rebels.
She was fantastic.
Ahsoka is one of the most well-developed characters in Star Wars, period.
She's the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker. She's the only one that he is trained to be a Jedi.
Well, the Padawan of Anakin Skywalker. So, yeah, they have basically the opportunity here to do something great.
This young teenage girl who was trained to be a keeper of the peace had to become a warrior worthy of standing next to the greatest Jedi of all time.
Yes, the greatest Jedi of all time. Yeah, Anakin Skywalker with the highest midichlorian count. That's why his son Luke was also so powerful. Too bad that we only had a glimpse in the season 2 finale. We had a glimpse of that Luke Skywalker from the Legends, from those books that show his true power. I need to see Luke here too. I hope that Luke Skywalker shows here with Han and Leia. I mentioned this in my previous video, and I hope Disney's listening to the fans. Please, Disney, listen to the fans, and if you give what we want, you're gonna make a lot of money. I guarantee you will. That you as a company will make a lot of money.
Ahsoka's story and her growth has mirrored my own. As you see, my style of storytelling mature. The stories got more complex. It had grown to the point where I wanted to take what I was doing in animation and really see if I could get it to this type of storytelling that I'd grown up with in Star Wars.
Yes, he is George Lucas' apprentice. So the two heir to the storytelling of Star Wars. So let's see what happens now.
Mandalorian season 1 was a perfect place for me to experiment with my own creativity and style, but have a great backstop and support from collaborating with all these other extraordinary people.
You must reunite it with its own kind.
This is the way.
This
So
is the
when
way.
season 2 came around, I was like, for my episode, I was like, well, I'm going to do Ahsoka. I'm like, I just need to try this. Let's do it.
Wow. Yeah. He had the chance, and I remembered that episode, if I remember well, was titled "The Jedi," and everybody was making the speculations. Could that be Luke? Could that be somebody else? And it's a strange because she said that she's no Jedi. So, but let's see.
Ahsoka Tano, Bo-Katan sent me.
I hope it's about him.
Yeah, about him, because that was a wasted opportunity there too. He should have stayed with Luke Skywalker, and he should have been the first student of Luke's academy. So that would have changed everything, and would have made a lot of people very happy. That was the when the fandom was very happy, everybody united, everybody from everything, OT, prequels, sequels. It would have united everybody.
For a character that has such depth and complexity, to bring that character to live action made a tremendous amount of sense.
Tell me what I want to know. Where is your master?
Ha! Where is your master? So she's applying the philosophy of Jedi and Sith, of master and apprentice, and here with Grand Admiral Thrawn. So pretty interesting. I kind of forgot about that line in interesting.
George visited the set when we were filming the lightsaber fight in the Japanese garden, season 2. And I think it was really encouraging of Dave stepping up to this role. And so George would turn to Kathy and myself and be proud of Dave.
And yeah, I need to mention that the Japanese influence and of the lightsaber fighting, the kendo behind it, I love that. One of the things that I never got old, in The Mandalorian, was when there was the fights, especially with the lightsabers. Beautiful. Star Wars never looks bad.
He was Dave's teacher, and Dave was his apprentice.
He said it there. Luke was the teacher, the master, and Filoni was the apprentice. Everything, the concept of the studentship, and the martial arts in there. Very nice.
There are moments when I just stare at her and I'm just like, wow, she just looks like this thing I've drawn, but Sara's done all the research. Like, she knows the character, but now she has to become it in a way that's never happened before.
Yeah, Rosario Dawson, she did a lot of research on this character. The fans were behind her to become Ahsoka as a live action figure, presence. So she's doing a great job. I'm pretty sure that she's gonna do a great job in her series as portraying the character.
Yeah, it actually, the thing that feels most awkward right now is talking with you. The posing and sort of the stances we were doing. That's not unusual, but speaking as Rosario while in Ahsoka is a little.
Yeah, that's true, because she's speaking as Rosario while she's dressed up as the Ahsoka costume. Doesn't sound right. After listening to the series and the speech and the mannerisms and the stand, how she crosses her arms and everything. She did her homework.
Startling. I really love the transformation and really deep diving into who she is.
Rosario Dawson is just such an incredibly powerful actress, and She loves
Oh,
this
man.
character. I think everything about who Ahsoka is just brought to life in a way that almost nobody else could.
She not only gets a character, but she gets like the Star Wars of it all, which is an important ingredient. You have to be in it.
Yes, that's important. I think Filoni got that right, and I hope he can transfer that into the series. It's important that whoever is doing Star Wars, whoever is acting, whoever is producing, directing, they need to be fans. Some of them they are, but they need to honor the legacy of George Lucas, and Filoni has the opportunity to do that in this series.
This is a hard thing. You're gonna have to be painted orange every day. You're gonna have to put a prosthetic on your head every day. You're gonna be training like a Jedi to learn how to lightsaber fight almost every day.
I'm playing.
By the way, she learned her moves. I think that I practice, Jedi arts as a martial arts artist on my spare time, and yes, she did her homework. I know that it looks like she has trained and spent the time and the hours perfecting the moves, and that's part of being a fan. Thank you, Rosario, for doing that.
Someone who is an absolute expert. And so I really wanted to be able to physicalize that as much as possible.
Yeah, Jedi's primary weapon is a lightsaber. There need to be a lot of lightsaber fights, and they have to be good.
Yes.
Because our fans know the difference.
When I started getting my stances and some of the postures and, started really getting my left hand up to par with my right.
Yes, especially if you're right-handed and that's your strong arm, you need to practice with your left so you can actually match the intensity and the speed of your right, and vice versa. If you're a left person and you're strong with your left, you need to practice with your right and try to, even though that you don't like it, you need to try it so you can be balanced, because if you're not balanced, then you have a weak point. So in trying to do your defense against an attack. So that's great that she did that.
That I started to really feel like I was sinking into who Ahsoka was, because her physicality is such a huge part of who she is. No matter how tired I was like, sign me up for some more. Sign me up for some more.
Great.
When you step into Star Wars and work with George, you are part of a legacy. You're part of a history. Exactly.
Filoni, you're saying all the right things. I hope that this is not just a feature video to get everybody pump up. Let's get that series and get the momentum so we can bring the fandom back and unite them. It's Star Wars really needs this series to be perfect, excellent, and without flaws. And you're capable, Filoni. So I'm rooting for you. Please listen to the fans.
And we had to uphold that history and yet do this completely new and different thing.
Ahsoka is another story where you can step in at any point and not feel that you necessarily have to have seen everything.
From the beginning of this series, Ahsoka is out there on the fringe of the galaxy. When she hears whispers of this warlord's return.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting how they portrayed Grand Admiral Thrawn. That's another thing. They need to do it right, too, because there's a lot of expectations, especially with the novels, the legend novels, the new novels. They need, but we also don't know how much of him will be in the series, how much, screen time. So let's see what happens with that.
She decides to enlist her friends' help.
This is about preventing another war. You know who could help?
Serene Red.
I'm not sure she'll want to help.
I'm telling the story about this mentor-student relationship that passes from Anakin to Ahsoka to Sabine.
Interesting. So I wonder if Sabine in here, she's force sensitive. I don't know how I feel about that. But if the purpose is to, show the master-apprentice relationship and the pass on of the knowledge to somebody else, it could be interesting. So let's see how it plays out in the series.
There is nothing easy about being a Jedi.
It's quite extraordinary to bring this to life.
Wow.
When the stakes are this high.
Wow, you see that the kendo pose. She learned that from Anakin because Anakin did that in, especially if you see the Attack of the Clones when he's fighting Count Dooku. He does that pose. Is a kendo pose that is just warning how strong that strike's gonna be. So I love that. It's beautiful.
We have to do what's right.
Yes. Yeah, I love that ending. We gotta do what is right. So Filoni, just do what is right, and everything's gonna be fine. You're gonna have all the fandom behind you with this series. So yeah, this was my review. Yeah, remember, like I always say, the truth is always available to you. You just need to go and find it. And see you on the next one, guys.